name's Sam. I'm with the Bluegrass Martial Arts in Louisville, Kentucky, head instructor here. And this is the last part of our warm-up exercises. And we call this ukemi, which means receiving the ground or falling. The term uke, which you'll see in some martial arts, Tracy's Kempo is common for using that terminology. Uke is the person receiving the technique. So it's the person who does the attack, and therefore the tori, that's the person who actually does the defensive part of it on the uke. He receives the attack that way. Ukemi is when we receive the ground. So it's a process of learning how to fall and learning how to fall safely. And there are a lot of brands of what we call break falls that you would use to receive the ground gently if you were being thrown. I'm not going to cover those here because we don't use those in our warm-up. I'm just covering what we do in our warm-up. In our warm-up is a basic ukemi, knowing how to fall to the front and to the back. And I've got here this ball because you want, in the process of doing ukemi, your body to make the shape of a ball. And so what's supposed to happen is if you took a plate here and you're holding the plate, if you turned it vertically and you dropped the plate, if it's a glass plate and it fell on a hard surface, it would probably shatter because all of the weight, all of the force is coming down on one edge, one hard line there, and it'll shatter the whole plate. Now if you turned that plate flat and dropped it and it stayed flat as it fell, well, it might break. But there's a possibility it wouldn't because that force would get spread out rather than landing on one corner or one edge. So in the process of falling down, we don't want our wrists sticking out or our fingers sticking out or landing on your elbow, certainly not landing on your head, landing on your knee. We don't want to crash down on any one of these parts, but you want to be able to transfer the force as you're falling down into a force that moves forward. And in that process, we kind of roll with it. So the way this works is, to do the ukemi, I'm going to drop down because that's the first part of the fall. I'm coming down, so I bend at the knees and get low with this. Every time you do it, I'm going to drop down first. Now, as I do it, my feet are going to push me forward. That's the direction I'm going. But my body's going to twist side to side. And what I want to do is I want to receive the ground here. One hand, I create like that shape of a ball here with my arm. I create a frame. And as I come down, this hand might touch the ground, but I'm going to transfer all the force as I go along the ground, along that upper arm, up onto my shoulder. And I want my head turned away, because I don't want my head there, it lands on my head. I want my head turned away so that as the ground passes here, I roll safely over that shoulder. And I keep transferring that all the way down diagonally across my back onto this opposite hip. And at which point I'll be rolling up into a kneeling position and you can stand from there. So what that would look like is, going from standing, I'll drop down and roll to the opposite hip and stand up. And there's not any part there where your bones are hitting the ground. You don't want to feel jarred in your shoulder, jarred in your elbow. It should be a smooth action that way. Receive the ground gently in the process. And doing that with the ball, if it's something that's brand new to you, you can kind of hug the ball with both your knees and your arms. I turn my head to one side so that I'm just using the shoulder. And all the ball does is help me keep my frame, keep a circular frame, keep a ball up frame, rather than arching your back or trying to flatten out as you do this. Then you will hit something skeletal, your lower back or your knees or something. So I turn my head to the side, pushing forward with my feet. I can roll and come right back up again with the ball. Going back, same thing. Roll, and I come up into this kneeling position and stand back up again. So that's using the ball to ukemi, but that's just to get an idea for it. You're not going to have a ball if you fall down. And this is one of the most important things I think that we train, because at some point everybody's going to fall. There's no way you can guarantee you'll always have your balance. So this helps. This is one of the things that I know I've used, and most of the students I talk to have used. At some point they fell down, and being able to go with that momentum, get right back up again on their feet, is much better than landing on your head, landing on your arm, having a broken arm, dislocated shoulder or something instead. So again, we want to make that frame, come low. The foot that's forward here, in this case, I've heard some people say they like to think of almost taking their arm between their legs. Now that could cause you to ball up a little bit too much and kind of turn over and land on your back hard. You don't want to do that. But I can kind of take my arm in that direction through my legs as I come down. I just want to make sure I've already started rolling before my arm goes completely through my legs. If the arm goes through the legs and you aren't on the ground yet, you're going to hit the ground hard. So come down low, arm goes through the legs, and your legs are already out of the way. That way, they're already coming over your back as you stand back up again. Using the other side, going the other way. Again, I turn the head so that I'm not rolling as I go over this arm and upper part of my back. I'm not hitting my head in the process. And I roll forward here and come up. So we do that a lot. We go down one way and we alternate sides. We come back, alternating sides. This is after having done all the warm-ups with the punches and kicks. So people are already hot, sweaty, somewhat exhausted, and then they're having to stand up after each one of these. It's a good exercise. The next one we're going to look at is the backward roll. Now to do this one, I'm going to sit back like I'm sitting into a chair that's not really there. Again, curving my body to make that ball shape. And this time what I'm going to do is I roll back. I want my head to go to one side, and I want to bring my feet and knees over the opposite shoulder. Don't keep your head in the middle. You'll get stuck. Legs come up on either side. That's more like a yoga stretch. You want the head to one side, roll the feet to the opposite, and you'll come up on that shoulder. It'll do the whole process in reverse that way. So if I turn my head to the side, I'll come towards you. Turn my head to the side, I'm sitting back, and I'm going to roll up onto this shoulder as I lean back. It rolls, and I come right back up again, like so. Going sideways. From here, I'm sitting back gently, roll back, up onto the shoulder, and again, there's not any point where there was a hard hit to it. For adults, this is usually the harder of the two because we don't like thinking in terms of falling, even in a safe matted area like this. You just get squirrely about it. For kids, though, they'll pick up on the backward roll really fast because they're fearless. So they have no problem just rolling back, get them to turn that head to one side and send the feet to the other, and they'll be champs in one session. That's all it takes, and they'll be backward rolling like champs. The forward roll takes a little bit of work for everybody. Once again, kids tend to be a little bit more secure in the fact that they've fallen down and they've been able to get back up again. Where, as we get older, we fall down and it hurts a lot longer, especially if you're banging things along the way down. So keep that frame strong, but transfer those points of contact. Instead of crashing or popping any spot on the ground, it should transfer immediately to the other. One smooth glide, one smooth flow, whether you're falling forward or whether you're falling backward. The last drill we do is we do a forward roll, we come up and immediately turn around and do a backward roll. So we alternate forward and backward all the way down, alternate forward and backward all the way back. That's what we use for our warm-up. From here we go straight into our stance set, and then after that we head into our stretching time. So thank you for your attention, and I hope these videos have helped if you are a current student or looking to be a student here at the Bluegrass Martial Arts.